12 signs your body is burning fat, even if the scale isn't moving. This video is educational only, not medical advice. Always check with your doctor. One of the earlier signs can be morning breath. If you wake up in the morning with a slightly metallic taste on your breath, this can be a sign that the liver was burning body fat through the night. Ketones from your fat cells can start to break down into acetone, which then exits through your lungs, causing that unusual fruity or nail polish smell on the breath. As your metabolism becomes more flexible to burning fat, this smell naturally starts to go away. The second sign is changes to the skin. As the fat cells break down when you're dieting or exercising, they tend to release stored toxins such as heavy metals or pollutants that you may have been storing for years. The scale may not be moving at this point because your liver is still processing them. When you're burning fat quickly, some of these toxins get released through the skin, temporarily causing things like itching, breakouts, or rashes, usually for about 3 or 4 weeks. Bitter foods like lemon, arugula, and apple cider vinegar can help your liver process and clear out waste for skin improvements. The third sign can be having a dry mouth. Because when you cut your carbs or your calories, the body starts to burn through its stored sugar called glycogen. Every 1 g of glycogen that you burn, you release 3 or 4 g of stored mucus fluid. This causes a temporary state where you feel more thirsty or have dry mouth when waking up. You might also find yourself urinating more often. This is a positive sign of weight loss. Adding electrolytes, music, sea salt, and mineral water can help to rehydrate the body during this process. This water loss, however, can also lead to twitching muscles. As the body starts to dump more water, it also flushes out your electrolytes, especially potassium, magnesium, and sodium. With lower levels, the muscles can sometimes begin to twitch around the eyes. Or you may experience cramping of the feet or the calves when you move your foot or leg into a certain position. This is a sign that your body needs more minerals, but also that it's losing fat. Focus on eating more potassium and magnesium-rich foods like avocados, arugula, and leafy greens to get more potassium and magnesium. Also try a pinch of Himalayan or Celtic sea salt in water to get more sodium. Now, another positive signal that you're burning fat is reduced hunger. This is the ability to go from breakfast all the way to your next meal without feeling hungry. This occurs because you no longer get those blood sugar swings as your fat cells are releasing ketones. Ketones help to stabilize blood sugar and prevent those mid-afternoon cravings. This can also result in number 6, improved thinking. You might notice that you can think more clearly without that usual afternoon crash. Personally, I tend to feel mentally sharper and able to make more connections in my brain when I'm researching. This improved thinking indicates that ketones from the fat cells are reaching and fueling the mitochondria in your brain. Research shows us that fat fuel is 22% more efficient at generating energy in the brain than glucose. Now, the next thing to watch out for is simply your waist size reducing. Sometimes the scales do not move when you're on a diet because your body is starting to rebuild its muscle. This is very common in older people who have already had atrophied or sagging muscles around the legs or thighs, for example. A much better way to track your progress is by measuring your waist every 2 weeks. As the waistline begins shrinking and you notice more muscle definition, you are clearly burning fat. Eating more fiber on a diet can sometimes cause bloating. Apple cider vinegar mixed in water before meals can help to reduce this. Now, the 8th sign is digestive changes. In over 50% of people, there is some change, either constipation or faster digestion, when they're burning fat. This tends to happen because the digestive enzymes and the gut microbes are not yet adjusted to your new diet or eating plan. This is one of the earlier stages where your body is adapting to metabolizing fat instead of sugar. It's important here to be patient, as it can take anything from a week to a month for digestion to stabilize. You might also notice increased sweating. In the earlier stages of fat burning, the body generates more heat through thermogenesis. And in order to cool itself back down, it activates the sweat glands. So, you may notice that you're sweating more than usual, even if the scale hasn't moved. This is much more common during exercise or activity. However, when you are very still and you're not moving, sometimes you may start to feel colder than usual. You see, your fat cells are not only designed to hold fuel, they also help to insulate your body. But as soon as you reduce your body fat percentage, you essentially have less layers to keep you warm. As you rest, your metabolism can slow down slightly to conserve energy, which is why you may feel a little colder than usual. Wearing warmer clothing can slightly increase the fat-burning metabolism. Now, some people also start to wake between 1 and 3 a.m. When you first start losing weight, Blood sugars temporarily can become unstable and they drop in the early hours of the night, which then causes a cortisol spike to wake you up. This can leave you feeling very wired at night. However, as your metabolism adapts to fat burning, after a couple of weeks, you start getting a more sustained slow release of fuel, which actually helps you to sleep much, much deeper than you did when you started your diet. Now, in the morning when you wake up, you might feel less stiffness. Ketones from burning fat also have a natural anti-inflammatory effect on the body. You may start to wake up feeling less stiff and rigid as the inflammation drops and the joints and the muscles become more relaxed and flexible. Getting 40 minutes of full-body sun exposure in the morning also raises vitamin D levels to help lower inflammation. Now, one final sign that I'd like to add is a lower resting heart rate. Your mitochondria become better at using oxygen when burning fat, essentially allowing your cells to produce more energy with less stress. Adrenaline levels also naturally drop when your body no longer relies on quick sugar for fuel. This allows your nervous system to enter the relaxed parasympathetic state. You may notice your resting heart rate gradually lowering over time. A healthy resting heart rate is typically between 60 to 70 beats per minute. Improvements are usually seen within 1 to 3 weeks of consistent fat loss. Now that you're aware of the signs that your body gives you when you're burning fat, you may be asking why the scale doesn't always move. In the early stages of a diet, people often see lots of weight loss because the body dumps fluid, but then they tend to lose hope as the scale stops moving. Let me be clear. This is not a sign that fat burning has stopped. Your body composition often remodels, gaining more muscle whilst losing fat at the same time. Exercise can also cause micro tears in the muscles, leading to temporary inflammation and water retention, so the scale doesn't always move. Instead of using the scales, it's much better to measure your waistline and notice changes on how you wear your clothes rather than relying on the scales. You might also want to try taking before and after photographs once every month for a more accurate view of how your body is changing. How can I avoid weakness? The first 1 to 2 weeks are often the most brutal, where the body has to adapt to your new diet plan or exercise routine. During this transition, it's very important to stay hydrated and add a little more sea salt into the diet. Sodium from salt helps your cells absorb fluid so they can continue to generate high amounts of ATP energy. Your body will also use up more B vitamins when it's converting fat into energy, which can leave you feeling a little tired. So focus on adding unfortified nutritional yeast, sunflower seeds, and red meat to restore your B vitamins during the transition. Don't forget about fiber. People who cut out carbs should definitely focus on adding more soluble fiber from things like chia seeds, avocados, berries, flax, or psyllium husk, whilst also avoiding those fast-processed carbs that quickly turn into sugar like bread, flour, cereal, etc. Soluble fiber is essential to feed gut bacteria, which is then going to make short-chain fatty acids that support your metabolism. This will make the process a lot easier, without as many side effects. How to speed up weight loss? Your body is most efficient at burning fat in the first 2 to 4 hours after waking up because the fat-burning hormones are naturally higher after an overnight fast. It's important to stay away from refined starch, sugar, and cereals in the music morning to keep your insulin low. Instead, choosing healthier low-carb breakfast foods like eggs, salmon, yogurts, or meats. These will keep the fat storage hormone insulin lower for longer, allowing you to burn additional fat calories throughout the day. I'm Ryan Taylor, a certified nutritionist. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you great health, wealth, and happiness.